siya sa inyong circle when you were in grade 10? Or do you have any idea about coterminal and reference angles? Wala? Okay, I think wala, no? Kay hilo man. Okay. So, let's start first with our coterminal angles. So, unsa day ning coterminal angles? 'Di ba in our angle measure last time, we discussed about initial angle and terminal angle. So, or not the angle but initial side and terminal side. So for our initial side, we had there that is the beginning where your angles will start. And then your terminal side is adto mag-end ang imuhang angle. Now, since we have here the word ko, so there is something to do with the terminal angle or the terminal side. So we have here, please read Sano, the definition for coterminal.
Coterminal angles. Two angles in standard position that have a common terminal side are called conterminal angles. Observe that the degree measures of conterminal angles differ by multiples of 360 degrees.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have there two angles kuno in standard position. So unsa gyud tong standard position class? Asa gyud magsugod ang standard position? Okay, sa x or specifically the positive x. So meaning to say, duha kuno ka angle class nga in standard position nga naa sila common terminal side. So meaning to say, duha na ang atuang angles dire and then naa siya naglay sa isa ka terminal side. And we call that angles coterminal angles. So we have here class for our picture here. So we're going to observe that the degree measures of coterminal angles differs by multiples of 360. So arita sa first class, kaning 45 degrees. Naa ba siya sa standard position? Naa siya sa standard position ang 45 degrees? Naa ba sa positive x axis ang iyahang initial side? Yes or no? Okay, yes, very good. So meaning to say, our 45 is in standard position. Now, class, ang 45 na to ang iyang initial side na asa positive x-axis, while ang iyang terminal side is mauni siya. Now, let's look at our kaning 315 degrees. Naaba sa positive x-axis iyang initial side, class? No. Sige, how about the others? What do you think? Naba siya sa positive? Okay, the answer there is yes. As we can see, ang atong negative 315 class na siya nag-start dire. And then ituyok siya clockwise and then i-end siya here. And then, di ba, same sila, naglay sila on the same terminal side sa 45 degrees. So, you have there, na siya sa standard position, and then ituyok siya clockwise, and then i-end siya here sa kaninga terminal side. Well, our next one class, we have here 405 degrees. Kani siya nga arrow or kani siya nga angle, kani nga tuyok. Does it lie on the positive x-axis? Yes or no? Naglay ba siya on positive x-axis? Kani siya. Ang iyahang initial. Naglay ba sa positive x-axis? Sige, we're just going to look at this one. Sa iyahang pagtuyok. Okay, very good. That is yes. Because as we can see, naamon siya sa atong positive x-axis nagsugod. So it means to say that our angle 405 or 405 degrees angle, it is in standard position. And as you can see, class, the same sila og terminal side nga gilayan sa 45 og sa negative 315 degrees. So, meaning to say, mo ni siya tong gitawag og co-terminal angles. Okay? Two or more angles lie on the same terminal side. We call that one as terminal angles. Now, as we can see here, class, ningon man nga, observe that the degree of measures of 300 of coterminal angles differ by multiples of 360. So, atong itry, class. We have here, sa 360 man daw ihang multiple. So, let's try to have 360 minus 360 plus 315 class. Pila yung result. Sige, 360 plus 615. Ano sa ihang result? Sige, you can use your calculators. Okay, we have plus man. 360 plus, 360 plus, minus, plus negative 315. This one. Or 315 plus 360. Okay, that is 45. So, as you can see, makita ni mo nga coterminal juday sila since if you're going to have this one, i-add or mag-minus ka og 360, makuha ni mo ang iyahang coterminal. And then, if we have here, class, if we're going to add 360 plus 45, 360 plus 45, what is the result? That is 405. So, here, class, for your 45, you can have your coterminal angles nga 315 and 405. And their difference or the difference of your coterminal angles could be positive 360 or negative 360. So, which means to say we can have, in order for us to get the coterminal angles, we're just going to add 360 degrees and or subtract negative 360 degrees. So, magdepende na siya, class, kung unsay instruction. If ang ipangita is positive nga coterminal angles, then you're going to use any of this nga ma-result siya og positive. Okay? Or naabay specific range ang gipangita sa problem. So far, do you have any question for these coterminal angles? Before we're going to jump in sa atong mga examples. Wala ra?
Nope.
Okay. Now, this time, let's have this one. We're going to find a coterminal angle between 0 degrees and 360 degrees. So, atong coterminal should be in this range only, from 0 to 360 degrees. Now, we're going to start with the first one na atay negative 330 degrees. So, To find the coterminal angle ni ingon man ta nga it's either mag-add ta og 360 or mag-subtract ta og 360. So what do you think we are going to do, class, to get a coterminal angle nga mulay between 0 degrees to 360 degrees? Mag-add ta or mag-subtract ta?
Subtract.
Subtract? Napoy nag-add. Okay. So, unsa man jud ta ani, mag-add, mag-subtract. Okay. That is mag-add ta. So, because if we're going to add 360 to negative 330, what is the answer, class? What would be the result? That is 30 degrees. And 30 degrees lies between our angle here nga 0 degrees and 360 degrees. So that is what we're going to do. Okay, any questions for example number 1? Kapoy kay kasigsod diri ha. Kapoy kay kasigsod, mga tarog ang mga tarog. Okay, none. Now let's go to the next one. We have here negative 435 degrees. What are we going to do? To add, to subtract? Or are we gonna do
Oh,
multiple addition and subtraction here? Okay,
multiple
mag-add.
addition.
Okay. So multiple addition. So if we're going to add 435 plus 360, what's the result? Okay, that is negative 75. Now, are we gonna stop here? Yes or no? No. Very good. Since our coterminal must be in this kuan man range. So what we're going to do with negative 75? Saan man ni nato siya mag-add na sad ta or mag-subtract ta niya? Okay, mag-add na po tag 360. Now, if we're going to add 360 plus negative 75, what's the result? Okay. So that is 285. So meaning to say, class, our coterminal angle of negative 435 between 0 and 360 degrees is 285 degrees. Okay, so question so far for example number 2. Questions? Okay, none. Now let's go to number 3. We have here 640 degrees. We're going to find its coterminal angle. So what are we going to do? Add or subtract? Okay, subtract 360 degrees. So 640 minus 360. Okay, that is 280 degrees. Are we gonna stop here? Is this our final answer? Okay, very good. That is yes. Kay nasud man siya sa 0 and 360 degrees. Now, down to the last one, class. Negative 422. So, unsa itong buhaton niya? Okay, we're going to add 360 degrees. So, negative 422 plus 360. Pila siya, class? That is 62. 62 or 82? Okay, that is 62. Typo ko, class. Yeah, 62 na siya. Sorry, 62. Now, in our negative 62, final answer na ba siya? Okay. So, what we're going to do next? Okay, we're going to add 360. So, if we're going to add 360 to negative 62, pilay answer. That is 298. Okay, that is 298. Sorry ha. Feel na ko sa given ko na sayop. That is 444, 42 unta. Pero sige lang. That is 268, 98 ang answer. Okay. So, any questions for number 1 class? Number 1, number 4. Questions, clarifications, violent reactions. Dali ra mangita sa coterminal, no? Wala na questions? Okay. So now, let's try to answer naman this one. We're going to find a coterminal angle between 360 degrees and 0 degrees. Okay? So, in this specific range na sad nga coterminal angle ang ato ang pangitaon. So, let's try to have the first one class. Negative 380. Sa itong buhaton niya. So that makakuha tag-answer nga in between sa negative 360 to 0. Mag-add ta or mag-subtract? Okay, mag-add. So if we are going to add 360 to 380, pilay result? Okay, that is negative 20. For negative 20, is that our final answer? Okay, yes. Since nasud, pasok naman siya sa banga sa imuhang given arrange. Now, let's go to next one. 435. 435, what we're going to do here? Add or subtract? Okay, add 360. Pilay result? That is 75. Final answer, yes or no? Yes, very good. Let's go to the next one, 640. 640. So, mani na to siya para makakuha tag negative 360. Okay, mag-subtract ta niya og negative 360. So, 640 minus 360. Okay, that is 280. Final answer, 280? Okay, no. So, what are we going to do next? Okay, subtract again. So, we're going to subtract 280 minus 360. What's the result? That is negative 80 degrees. For negative 80 degrees, is that our final answer? Okay, that is already the final answer since nasud man siya sa tuang range. Very good. Now, let's go to the next one, class. We have negative 422. Okay, we're going to add or subtract? Okay, we're going to add. So, negative 42 plus 360, what's the result? That is 62. 62 gyapon da, sorry. Is that our final answer? Okay, that is already the final answer. So that's it for our example for finding the coterminal angles. Now to wrap up, in finding coterminal angles, what we need to do is it's either to add 360 degrees or subtract 360 degrees. Okay, so far, any questions, clarifications, violent reactions? Okay, so good, Sratan, no? Now, let's proceed with our reference angles. So, sa dining reference angle. Okay. So, can you please read reference angle? Campus.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you please read reference angle?
Reference angles. The reference angle is the angle that the given angle makes with the x-axis. Regardless of where the angle ends, the reference angle measures the closest distance of that terminal side of the x-axis.
Okay, very good. So you have there our reference angle class kay mao daw na siyang angle that given angle makes with 300 with x-axis. So regardless of where the angles end, the reference angle measure the closest distance of that terminal side of the x-axis. So in short class, kung asa siya duol nga x-axis, mao na iyang reference angle. Okay? Kung unsa ang iyahang closest nga x-axis sa iyahang terminal side, mao na iyahang reference angle. So, in finding the reference angle class, we are just going to have some formulas and we're going to look for all of the quadrants in our Cartesian plane. So, we have here class, 'di ba? We have four quadrants man. So, we have here class ningon man tangang reference angle is naa daw siya sa x-axis nga duol sa imuhang terminal nga side. So, for example, for our quadrant 1 class, so ang given angle ana niya is mo ni siyang green class ha. Ang kanang given nga angle is the green. So, that's why you have there your theta. Now, in here class, your reference angle is mao na siya ang duol sa imuhang x-axis. So, ang atong x-axis class, it could be here, kaning positive o katong negative sa left side. So, ang ato ang reference angle for quadrant 1 class, remember the formula, you have your reference angle is equivalent to your angle given. So, for example, if ang given angle diri is not 90 but 45. So, kung 45 ang given angle, ayang reference angle class is also 45. Kay dili naman siya mulabang diri sa pikas nga side kay mas dako man og kanang angle kung arita sa pikas nga side iyahang reference. Okay, it should be duol sa imuhang terminal side, imuhang reference angle nga x-axis. Remember ha, x-axis. So, kanirag yung pahigda, dili kaning pabarog tamang hilabot. Okay, so remember this one. Now here, for our quadrant 2, so mo ni ang given nga angle. So, mo ni ang initial and then mo ni ang terminal side. So, for the terminal side class, ang iyahang reference angle sa quadrant 2 is kani siya. Kaning red diri. Okay? So, if we're going to get, we can use the formula. Reference angle is equal to 180 degrees minus theta. Kanang theta ni mo class mo na siya imong given angle. Like for example, kung kanya tong given angle diri is 150. So, imo i-subtract ra na imo 150 sa 180. So, 180 minus 150. So, meaning to say your reference angle is 30 degrees. Okay? Duol man ni. Mao man ni siya ang duol nga x-axis. Kay kung kani pa ato ang given ang ato ibutang, layo na kay ang 150. Unlike kani, nga duol ra kay siya sa pikas nga x-axis. Okay, for reference angles class, it could be mulay siya sa positive or negative x-axis. Okay? Okay. Questions? Wala ra? Now, let's go to our next one. So, for our quadrant 3 class, di ba mama ni atong quadrant 3, kani siya. So, we have here for our terminal side, mao niyang terminal side, and then mao man niyang initial side. Kaya ari man mag-start, kay standard position man. So, you have there, nagtuyok siya, and then ari siya na end, ang iyang given. Now, for finding the terminal, the reference angle niya class is kanita diri. Kay mas duol man siya diri nga x-axis. Okay? So, mas doon man siya ani nga x-axis. So, for our formula class, we're going to use your given angle and then i-subtract nimo siya sa 180. Like, for example, kung kani siya nga measure is 250. So, imo na siya i-subtract diha. 250 minus 180 and then mo ni siya imuhang reference angle. Okay? Now, for quadrant 4 class is naapod tay lain niya. So, here, same gihapon yung initial side. Nagyapon sa positive x-axis which is standard. And then, magtuyok siya. And then, nag-end siya here. So, for yahang reference angle is mao ni siya. Kaning sobra kay naman siya mas duol diri nga x-axis. So, for the formula ani, since magtuyok naman siya 1, so, 300 ko na siya, 360 degrees. Sorry, 360 degrees minus the theta or ang imuhang given diri. Okay? So, these are lang the things that you need to to familiarize. Okay? In finding the reference angle. Sige, any questions? Pwede mo maka-screenshot lang so that you can participate later on for our examples. Sige, if done, you can say okay sa chat. Okay. Now, this time, let's have our finding the reference angle for our given here. So, let's start with 75. So, the first thing that we need to do, class, is we just need to know where that given makita na to nga quadrant. Okay? So, what do you think 75 degrees located? Where? 1, quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is in quadrant 1. So, mao na siya basic class. So that, dali na lang ninyo siyang ma-solve. So, sa tong quadrant 1 class, ganina. Unsa man to yung reference angle? What is the formula that we need to use? Unsa man to na to siya pagkuha? Okay. You have there 75. Diretso na answer. Okay. Actually, 75 is correct. Since we have there in our quadrant 1, niingon man to dito nga, the reference angle is equivalent to the theta or to the given angle. So, you have there, you can use the formula quadrant reference angle is equivalent to theta. So, that is 75. Since your theta is the given man, that is 75 degrees. Okay. Questions for example number 1. Okay, none. Now let's go to 145 degrees. What quadrant we can see 145 degrees? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is quadrant 2. Very good. Now, unsa man to'y formula nato sa quadrant 2 class? Okay, so you have there 180 degrees minus 45 or minus theta, the given. So you have there, ato na din siyang isubtract 180 minus 145. What's the result? Okay, that is 35 degrees. So, mo na yung reference angle. Now, let's go to number 3 class. We have here 210 degrees. What quadrant? 210. That is quadrant 3. Very good. Now, unsay formula sa quadrant 3? Okay, theta minus 180 degrees. Very good. So, you have there your theta, that is 210 minus 180. Pila result? That is 30 degrees. Very good. Okay, good job. Any questions for number 3? Goods ra, wala right question? Okay. So let's proceed with number 4. We have here 300 degrees. Unsa ni siya nga quadrant? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, quadrant 4. So, unsa man to'y formula sa quadrant 4? Okay, 360 minus theta. So, 360 minus 300. That is 60 degrees. So, meaning to say, our reference angle is 60 degrees. Okay, now, class, do you have any questions for our reference angle? Naay panguta na?
Yes, teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
So since I wasn't here, half of the class, are you gonna be putting this in our LMS?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Wala na? Okay. Now, let's proceed with our next example class. We have here negative 60 degrees. So, unsa din ni siya nga kuan class? Nga quadrant. Ma-identify ba nato dayon siya? Ang negative 60 degrees. Unsa kaha atong buhaton class since ang gihatag diri is negative 60 degrees man. So, unsa na to pagpangita nga masudra siya sa atuang 4 quadrants for positive. Unsa kaha atong ma-apply ani nga mausab ang negative 60 degrees? Sige daw. Ma-apply ba nato atong coterminal angles ani? Ma-apply ba? Okay. Hilo man kay no, but okay, sige, yes. Ma-apply nato ang atoang coterminal angle ani. So, we need to find our coterminal angle for this negative 60. So, unsa man atong buhaton sa negative 60 class? Mag-add ta niya or mag-subtract so that we can get the coterminal. Okay, we're going to add 60 degrees. So, you have there negative 60 plus 360, that is 300 degrees. So, meaning to say, kani ato ang gamiton in order for us to get our reference angle. Okay, we're going to use this one in order for us to get the reference angle. So, you have there 300 degrees. So, unsa siya nga quadrant class? That is quadrant 4. What's the formula for quadrant 4? Okay, 360 minus theta. Now, 360 minus 300. Okay, that is 60 degrees. So, that is the reference angle of your negative 60 degrees. Now, let's go to negative 345. Negative 345. Are we going to use coterminal here? Yes. So, unsa atong buhaton sa 300, negative 345 class? Mag-add ta niya, mag-subtract. Okay, mag-add. So, if we're going to add 345 plus 360, that is 15, right? So, for our 15 class, what quadrant is this? That is in quadrant 1. So, what's the formula for quadrant 1? Okay, that is ang iyahang reference angle kay same ra sa given. So, you have there, your reference angle is 15 naman ta. So, 15 po iyahang reference angle. Okay, so good job. Now, do you have any questions for this? R, nag-unsa man ka diya, R? Nanasad kay giyabu, R? Okay, baho kayo, R. Naog dito, be? Any questions? Clarifications? Violent reactions? Okay, wala ra. Now, let's go to the next one. So, this time is ang given niya is picture na. So, we have here ang atong pangitaon nga reference angle class. Ang iyang given dira is negative 230. So, negative 230. So, atong kuon ang reference angle. So, kani. Kay mas duol man ni siya nga x-axis kontra sa ari sa pikas. Layo naman kay siya. So, we have here this one. So, that is negative 230. So, saan ni natong negative 230 class? Addan ba ni natong negative 230 or mag-subtract? Okay, mag-add ta niya og 360. So, you have there negative 230 plus 360, that is equivalent to 130. So, meaning to say, ang kaning 130, kay arita niya magkuha sa atong reference angle. So, for 130 class, what quadrant is this? That is quadrant 2. So, unsa may formula sa quadrant 2? Okay, that is 180 minus theta. So, 180 minus 130. Okay, that is 50 degrees. So, meaning to say, our reference angle for negative 230 degrees is 150 degrees. Okay, now, I know you already see a kanang mas easier way to solve this one. Right? So, kung nakabantay mo, unsaon siya pag mas shorter way, then that's the good one. For if naglibog pa ganita, we can always use our formula. Okay? We can always use our formula. Now, down to the last example class, we have here this. 640. We have here for our 640. So, unsa tong buhaton niya, class? Do we need to use coterminal here so that we will know what angle? Okay. Or what quadrant? Okay. So we have here mag-subtract. So 640 minus 360, that is 280. So kaning 280 mo ni siya ato ang basihan na. So unsa maning 280 class? What quadrant is this? Quadrant 4. Very good. Now, for quadrant 4, makita man nato siya class kay nasa sa quadrant 4 no sa picture. So, you have there, for quadrant 4, what's the formula? Okay, 360 minus theta. So, you have there 360 minus 280. Pila? Okay, that is 80 degrees. So, meaning to say your reference angle for 640 is 80 degrees. Okay, so now do you have any questions? Clarifications for reference angle. Questions, clarifications, violent reactions, and so on and so forth. Are we all good here? Okay, if wala, can I see a thumbs up? Okay. So, very good. Now, that's it for our lesson today, class. So, we just only have like 2 lessons, reference angle and coterminal. Okay, and this is also one of your um, coverage for your final exam. So, for finals class, our